sometime at the end of January last year, I just decided to cut out a lot of things out of my life just to get more clarity and get my health back and peace of mind. So I basically changed my diet and I stopped eating sugar and bread. And my diet wasn't that bad before, but I just did fasting, and I didn't really eat a lot of bad food anyway, so I had a lot of healthy food anyway. But the bread and the sugar was the last things that really I struggled to cut out. But I just cut them out in January 23, and I lost a lot of weight as well over a 6 months period after that. Then the last 6 months I've been trying to gain weight back up again. So that transformed me, like in that way. Physically, I lost a lot of weight, and then I had to build back up weight again. So doing a lot of weightlifting and stuff like that now. But that's like a side effect of, creating healthy boundaries and realizing that your life can be a lot better if you take care of yourself. Doing simple things like taking care of your diet, get enough sleep, and not being a people pleaser, not bending over backwards for everyone else and then forgetting about yourself. That's a common thing that we can get stuck in, those kind of cycles of being a people pleaser, being a yes man or a yes woman. Just you feel like you have to help everybody despite yourself. And it's good to be, be caring and to take care of your community and your family and all that. But you have to have it just to do with balance. You have to take care of yourself. And especially in relationships, if you get into the relationships for the wrong reasons, that can be tough. And I know there's lots of people out there who are experiencing and have experienced those imbalanced relationships where it's not equal give and take. And maybe you don't want to admit it to yourself that it's not equal give and take, that it's not balanced. It's hard to admit that you're in a toxic relationship because you might be so heavily invested in it. You might have kids, you might have mortgages, you might have all kinds of different things tied up together. It can be a mess. I get it. I've experienced it. I've been through that myself. Never had any kids though. So on the other side of that, when I got out of all that mess and really started to take care of myself, things got better. I ended up in a better job because I was in a very toxic work environment the year before last. I got out of that, got into a much more harmonious work life, and that really gave me that breathing space to work on myself. And that's so important. You need space. If you have people demanding from you all the time, then you're never going to have space to work on yourself. You're never going to have the energy to give back to yourself. And that's where a lot of us go wrong in the beginning, especially when we're younger. I did that. I kind of left my home country, Ireland, because I wanted to find myself. I kind of need to escape myself in a sense, because I left my home country in Ireland back in about the early mid-2000s, and I moved to the big island, UK, and I've been here ever since. And I realized that I did that as an escape from myself. It wasn't anything to do with my home country, because I actually loved being there and I had loads of friends and family, everyone over there. So that wasn't I wasn't trying to escape them. It was me escaping myself, my true self. So I wanted to distract myself from who I really was, or maybe I was ashamed of myself or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Maybe you didn't do quite the extremes that I did, like leaving your country, but maybe some of you did. I ran away from myself, and now I'm more comfortable in my truth. I've gone through multiple relationships, long-term relationships, and some difficult breakups and stuff, and I've gone through like awakenings, or spiritual awakenings during the path. I've had some oh shit moments, like, what am I doing with my life? I've had a few of those moments, and I'm guessing a lot of you probably have had too. Sometimes life can be tough, but from my experience, it never gets too tough for you to handle. It gets tough enough for life to show you how strong you really are. And it does it in increments. So life is never going to get so tough that you can't deal with it. If you believe you can't deal with it, then yeah, it'll look like that. But you need to have faith and trust that you'll be okay. Because no matter how bad things turn out, there's always something's going to happen in the last moment that's going to bring you back out of that. You're always going to be safe. You're always going to be taken care of, even in the darkest moments. As dark as it gets, you know that at a certain point it's going to get a lot brighter. It always does. Like, even today for me, I've had some moments like that, and then things just flip, and everything turns positive again straight away, even better than it was before. So it's a waste of energy to worry about life, because everything always turns out. Even when things look really shitty, it always turns out good. In the long term, it does. Every challenge makes you see how strong you can be, makes you grow, makes you see more of your true self, because in challenge, your truth comes out, your authenticity, who you really are comes out. Your true character comes out in the face of challenge. So you should embrace it and thank it and be grateful for it, because it's showing you who you are. Every challenge in your life is showing you more of who you are. So you should be proud of yourself, and give yourself credit, and give yourself love. The love that you give to everyone else around you, give some of that back to you, because you deserve it. Yeah, it's so important to take care of yourself and give that love that you give out to everyone else, give some of that back to yourself. That's so important. That seems like a message I need to give out to whoever's listening right now. You need to be there for yourself as well as everyone else that you've always been there for. Don't forget yourself. Take care of yourself. Relationships, yeah. I know a bit about relationships. I know how to not do relationships, at least. I'm learning how to do relationships the right way now. Slowly. I'm getting the hang of it. Yeah. Luckily now I've got a very, very patient woman by my side. Yeah. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful indeed. Yeah. Well, I've learned the hard way, relationships, and I think most of us do anyway. So there's only a few lucky people that actually, pick, get the right relationship at the start, and that's pretty rare, I think. I know some people that do have that, but it's rare. It's quite wholesome that you find the one, when you're pretty young, and you stick with them for the rest of your life, and you're actually happy together, not just tolerating each other like a lot of people do nowadays, if they actually stick it out at all. I guess for a long time I was quite envious of those kinds of people. So, yeah, because I always wanted that. I always, even though a lot of people who know me probably don't believe that, but I always wanted that. But it didn't work out like that. It didn't work out because I didn't fully know who I was. So I ended up in relationships with people who didn't fit me, or I didn't fit them. We just weren't a good match. There was too much conflict. There was too much differences. Too many differences. The values were completely off. Even though some values would have matched up, maybe, because that was what would have attracted me to the relationships, but ultimately the values weren't aligned enough. And that's usually what causes relationships to fail is the values, and sticking to your values. Because if you have to contort yourself to the values of the other person, eventually that's going to grate on you. After years and years of you trying to bend to their value system and forgetting about your own, it's just going to leave you bitter. And there's no way to get out of like that energy. You can't like ultimately you can't change who you are, even if you try and you contort yourself for years and years to fit somebody else's ideals. Someone's got to give eventually. Or the other way around, if they're, bending to your value system. It goes both ways. It's going to grate, it's going to wear on the individuals involved. It's going to create toxicity, it's going to create conflict. And no amount of counselling is going to actually fix that. Because ultimately the two people are different. And it's always going to be an extreme level of compromise if you can actually manage to communicate about it and try to come to a compromise. A lot of relationships is very difficult to even communicate this, because you're having to admit that the relationship started on false pretenses, because you may have been under the illusion that your values aligned at the time, but later to find out that they don't actually align. And how much the relationship has developed beyond that point makes it more difficult to rectify, and patterns and boundaries and stuff that have been crossed for so long. Once you've given the reins to the other individual to cross your boundaries, or the lack of boundaries in that situation. When you start to try and reclaim your boundaries, that's going to create even more and more conflict. You have to undo all the damage that you allowed to happen in the first place, and that's very, very difficult. People get their backs up against the wall for that, because it's like they had all this free reign all this time and you take it away suddenly. Very few relationships survive that, I don't think. And I think, to be honest, from my experience, once it's gone that far, if it's not equal give and take. It's not balanced to begin with. So yeah, maybe you can work it out. Your values actually can align, but if they don't align, if they never align in the first place, you're wasting your life. You deserve better than that. You deserve someone that's on the same wavelength as you. You deserve someone who matches your values and sees you, So I had to accept that I was in the wrong relationships. I spent 9 years in a relationship, trying my absolute hardest to, be there in that relationship. But it was never good enough, because I never matched their values and they never matched mine. So there's always constant conflict, and eventually I had to admit defeat, but that's not defeat, because that's an illusion. The defeat is you being in denial and continuing to perpetuate the pain for both of you, because if they're not, for lack of a better word, big enough to stand up and say, we need to call quits on this, because we're not matched, we're not aligned, we're not, we don't gel together. Even after all these years, we can't do it. If they don't stand up and do that, you have to do it, because not only are you wasting your life away, but their life is being wasted away as well, because they could find another connection that would be more suited towards them, and you could find a connection that's more suited towards you. When you finally start to do the work on yourself and learn what your true values are. Like, what do you really want from relationships, for example? What do you want from yourself? Because that's the number one thing. Who do you want to be? Because that's the number one thing. You need to know who you want to be first. Then the relationships come after that, the true relationships. Now I know what a true relationship is now, because I've experienced it. I've connected with somebody that aligns with me on my values, and we are just like the same energy. We agree energetically. We are very similar, and in our moral values and in all the values, yeah, just aligns. And we see each other, we understand each other. But that only came to me because I actually did the work, the inner work, and cut out a lot of stuff and a lot of people and stuff out of my life that was distracting me from doing the inner work. And it's hard because you have to face your darkness. You have to take responsibility for the darkness within you, and it'll come up, and it'll come up time and time again. Different aspects of what you've been burying inside yourself for years and years and years will come up to the surface, and you'll have to face it. And there's a lot of shame that comes up, and there's a lot of guilt, and there's a lot of anger towards people who've you perceived have wronged you in the past, and relationships, your family, and so forth, all this kind of thing. You have to forgive all that. You have to forgive yourself. That's the most important thing. So you have to do all this work before you can actually really connect with somebody else, because before you do that, you're never going to connect with anybody on a deep, meaningful level, and you're never going to be able to find the one, if you want to say, until you've done the work, or at least done some of the work, and maybe then you'll connect with somebody that's more on your level that will help you the rest of the way, because they'll be still doing their bit of work as well on themselves, and you might help each other, which is my experience right now. But you have to let go of the toxic beliefs, the limiting self-beliefs, the beliefs that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve love, you don't deserve abundance, you don't deserve the career that you want, or the business, or the creative pursuits, whatever it is. No, you deserve all of that. The only thing that's stopping you from doing all those things and being your best self is you're playing small. You're not trusting in the divine plan for you. You deserve, and don't be triggered by that. You don't have to use those terms. But the point is that you do deserve everything you desire. You deserve your dreams. You just have to believe it. Just trust. You don't have to know how everything comes about, because you have to learn to let go. Let go of how things are going to play out for you. Just follow your intuition, follow your gut. If you feel you have to do something, take action on something, and it's from a heartfelt place and not out of fear, don't act on fear. That brings you back into those toxic cycles again. But act from the heart. You need to come back into the heart space, because that's where your truth is. That's what you really want from life and want from yourself. Everybody wants love, and the way for you to get love is to give it to yourself first, to take care of yourself, and then you create that. It'll be like a seed that grows inside of you, and you will become a magnet to more of it, more love, more abundance. Everything will just start to come to you, seep into your life. All it'll be like your luck will just change randomly. You'll meet people that are going to help you out. You're going to have opportunities that you never thought you'd have before. They're just going to randomly show themselves to you. When you start giving yourself more love, taking care of yourself, take care of your vessel, your body, your health. You put healthy food in your body. Get good sleep. Try and avoid drinking alcohol so much. Even better, cut it out entirely. Just try and ease into a better lifestyle. As comfortably as you can. Try fasting, intermittent fasting. Maybe just eating one meal a day. Try that out for a couple of weeks. See how that makes you feel. Don't take anything as I say as gospel. I'm not an expert. I'm just giving my experience here. Healthy food is so important. That's self-love. And with I've done fasting for years, but I've been doing intermittent fasting every day now for the last year. So that's basically just eating after, between 4 and 6 p.m. I eat. When I can. Try not to eat too late, because you don't want to sleep on a full stomach. But recently I started eating during the day again, just simply because I'm trying to gain weight back up again, because I lost like 15 kilos or maybe something like that since January. So I'm a little bit lighter than I'd like to be. I'm trying to build the muscle back up again, so I'm doing weightlifting as well. So I need to eat more. It's hard to get enough calories in one meal a day without feeling completely like expanded like a balloon. So, but yeah, I've done like 3 and 4 day fasts as well, like water fast. I wouldn't recommend going into water fasting straight away. If you wanted to do fasting, for example, I would probably just start with the intermittent fasting, 24-hour fasting. So have your one meal a day whenever that suits you. You know, probably earlier in the evening is better than later, or even midday. But you don't want to eat too late, because you don't really want to be sleeping on an empty stomach or a full stomach. You want to sleep on a more empty stomach, of course. So your body has more time to rest when it's not digesting food. But yeah, 24 hours after that, then you don't eat again. Like, so, for example, if I eat at like 4 p.m., then I won't eat again until like 4 p.m. the next day. But recently I've been eating an extra meal just to try and get those calories in. But besides that, though, the intermittent fasting is very beneficial. You will lose weight if you're not eating enough calories. If you can manage to get in your enough calories of good healthy food in that window, and you can make the window as broad or as narrow as you want, it's truly up to you. But the benefits of fasting are far-reaching. Your anxiety and stress levels will go down. You'll have better sleep. Your vision may improve a little bit. Your mental clarity will improve a little bit over time. And yeah, your skin will improve as well, because you're giving your body more time to heal, and it'll start to show probably first of all in your skin. You'll get more clarity in your skin as well. But make sure you're eating healthy food. You're eating the meat and veg. I mean, if you're if you're just a veggie person, then just do that. But, I eat meat sometimes. I've never done veganism. I've done vegetarianism for a few years before. Yeah, I can see the benefits in it, but right now I like meat. Try to eat healthy, organic meat if I can. But yeah, I could change that. That might change in the future. I'm not really like hardcore for or against. So I see the arguments on both sides. I see the nutritional arguments on both sides of the spectrum. So yeah, I'm kind of open that way. I change my habits every few years anyway, depending on my, I don't know, just how I am. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing the water fasting if you've not done it before. I would start off with the intermittent fasting, 24-hour fasting, and then maybe if you're feeling confident in doing a 3-day fast, I'd start with juice fast, like maybe drinking orange juice or squeezed grapefruit and lemon, something like that, so you have some electrolyte. So I would drink that through the day, and water, of course. I've done that on a long weekend when I wasn't working and I needed it. So if you ever do that, I would definitely have some time off any busy schedules that you might have, to just because you might feel a bit lethargic if you try to do too much. But later on, when you get more confident with the fasting, you can do water fasting. I even worked out and even cycled to work and done a full day's work on a 4-day water fast. But if you're not healthy, like you're not eating a good diet and stuff, I wouldn't do that straight away. I would work up to it. I would take yourself a good few months, maybe even a year, to build up to that with just doing intermittent fasting. Personally, if you've never done it before, I would just do the intermittent fasting for like 6 months to a year if you're comfortable with that, or just even do it like a couple of times a week to start with, whatever you're comfortable with, because if you could shock your system if you're eating like unhealthy, if you're eating a lot of sodas and sugars and Burger King and all that kind of trash. Yeah, you need to just start eating healthy food first, like get into a more healthy diet first, and then maybe work your way upward. But talk to the doctors and nutritionists, because I'm not professional. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I'm just going by my own experience. So yeah, disclaimer: I'm not a professional, but yeah, I'm aware that there's potential risks involved with shocking your system with fasting if you're not used to it, and if your diet is not the best to begin with. So you need to improve your diet first before you go into fasting, I would say. But that's just my opinion. It's not based on any credentials. I don't have any. So I'm gonna leave that for now. But yeah, I could talk about that for hours. But yeah, back to relationships. I guess maybe something like that. Everything is tied together. It's a holistic thing. Everything. When you focus on improving in your life, you need to think of the big picture first. Like, you need to look at the things that you're doing. The places you go, the people you hang around with, the food that you eat. We just mentioned a little bit about that, and your physical health. So that's all linked together. You need to look at those things, and you need to be honest with yourself. Really honest with yourself. Are like, who are your friends? Like, what do you do with your friends? Because that's going to tell you the trajectory of your life. And you could always tell your lifespan by that. So I don't really hang out with many people anymore, because I've been in a hermit mode for so many years, just figuring myself out, that I've had not really time to get involved with people, and I want to change that in the next couple of years, maybe even this year. I want to reconnect with people, and it'd be nice to see where people I've known from the past, how they've how life's been for them. But the thing is, you need to really assess your life. You need to have like an audit of yourself and your life and your habits and the people you hang around with, the activities, and figure out what is not benefiting you. So maybe have an idea, a vision of who you want to be, and then figure out what's happening in your life that doesn't align with that new version of you that you want to embody. And then you have to be brave, and you have to start cutting out these things that don't benefit you, whether they're the relationships, whether it's the sugary food, the fast food, the microwave meals. Maybe you should do some research on microwaves. If you use microwaves, you should probably figure out about the negative health effects of microwaves, and how microwaves take all the nutritional value out of the food. And microwave meals probably don't have that much nutritional value in them in the first place. But yeah, microwaves are really fucking bad. I would not use a microwave. I don't care how organic the food is. If you put it in a microwave, I'm not fucking eating that shit. I'm sorry, but no. I value my health. I don't want to put carcinogens in my body if I don't have to. Sorry, that's a side thing. But anyway, yeah. No, I don't deal with that kind of stuff. And I don't do these things either. I never did. I wouldn't advise that. So you need to reevaluate everything. Yeah. And do it at your own pace, but do it consciously, and be real with yourself, set yourself some goals. It's not, you don't need to do what I did, but you can, if you're not confident about, doing this, start small. Start cutting out sugar for a week and see how that feels, If you drink, maybe stop drinking for a week or 2 weeks. Don't have to commit totally, just ease into it. Find your feet. I know things like the drink and cigarettes and eating and all the vape things and all that kind of thing, and other you know, drugs and stuff. I think that's difficult, and you probably need to see professionals if you're really going to struggle with that. I'm not the guy for that. I just need to make that disclaimer. You have to be a little bit more disciplined if you want to be a better version of yourself, and that's the truth. And part of self-love is you actually taking care of yourself and stepping outside of yourself a little bit, being the bigger person outside of yourself and saying, okay, this is your life now, so what do we need to what do we need to have happen for you to be on the trajectory towards a better version of yourself? And that can be incremented over a period of time. Gradually work up to it. It's not going to happen all of a sudden. It's never going to be like that. I didn't experience that. It took me fucking years to get to where I am at now, and I'm still on the journey. I'm still, but I'm at a level now where I think I can share a little bit with some people who might benefit.